GupShup with Gurpreet Sarin. Welcome to another episode of GupShup with Gurpreet Sarin. Have an awesome guest for y'all who goes by Harleen Kaur. What's going on, Harleen?
Hi.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We're going to start off with a very important question, as I like to ask all of my guests. What do you like better, breakfast or dinner?
Oh, God, that's so hard. I would say dinner because I have breakfast for dinner all the time.
Oh, really? Okay. So what do you have planned for today's dinner?
Today's dinner, I don't know yet, actually.
Yeah.
That's going to be on the fly.
Nice, I like that. Do you think that because of your schedule, you're on the fly a lot, and you kind of just spontaneously figure out what to eat?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely go food shopping once in a while,
Yeah.
and I plan meals, but I don't plan Monday night's going to be eggplant pasta. Tuesday night's
Very
going to be
specific, I like that. Yeah.
dal. I don't
Very
plan
different,
it. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't plan it out so specifically, but
Of course.
yeah.
Awesome. So I'm excited to have Harleen on the show today because Harleen, as many of you know, is an awesome clothing and fashion designer. And so most of my questions are actually about your experience in that. But let's get started from the very beginning. How did Harleen Kaur get into clothing design?
So when I was young, I was really fortunate because both of my parents were super supportive from the beginning.
Sure.
When I started to get into fashion when I was really young, they were or art even just first, they put me in art classes outside of regular school. So I was doing that, and then slowly that progressed into fashion and clothing.
Nice.
So they let me enroll in fashion classes in high school. And then so senior year, I was really into science, and then I was also really into fashion.
Wow, okay, yeah.
So I had to make a decision at that point, what did I want to pursue?
Of course.
I initially decided I wanted to go the science route,
Okay.
applied as a chem major,
Wow.
thought maybe I would go into medicine.
Yeah.
And then I went through the first year of college, and I was like, something's really missing.
Yeah.
So I applied for an internship in the city as a design intern for fashion. And I completed the internship for the 3-month summer period, and I was like, I need to go into something that I can use my creativity in.
Sure.
And at that point, I was enrolled in UConn, and they didn't have a fashion program, and I loved the school. And then I was like, do I want to transfer to a fashion school? Do I want to transfer to Parsons FIT, some other, school that's really known for fashion? Then I had looked at what was offered at UConn, and costume design was one of the majors.
Yeah.
So I went to talk to the person who was in charge of the costume design department. Her name's Laura Crow. She's a really well-known costume designer.
Nice.
And she was like, a lot of fashion designers get the fashion design education.
Okay.
She was like, if you really like eccentric styles, and I did, right?
Sure.
Coming from the background I do, Thai, Punjabi, I liked these, over-the-top type of outfits. So I essentially decided to go the costume design route. So I did 2 degrees from UConn, one costume design and art, and then another one in nutrition because I still wanted that science.
Okay, gotcha. Nice.
So then after that, just, getting a job in fashion. So I worked at 9 West, and then J. Godfrey.
Okay.
And then I started this.
I have many questions based on what you just said.
I went really fast.
Yeah, and we were done with the interview. Thank you for your time. So let's go back. When we spoke on the phone, you mentioned that you are from Thailand. You have a background in a Punjabi, Thai. That is very unique. It's very cool. Talk me through how that experience was and how that sort of influenced you in your fashion.
Yeah. So both of my parents and my grandparents, actually on both sides, were both born and raised in Thailand.
Wow.
The story that I know from my parents, at least, is back in the day, one person had gone from our family or binned or whatever, had gone to Thailand and been like, there's a lot of opportunity. Just similarly how, people move to America for opportunity, right?
Course.
So somebody went to Thailand for opportunity. Then he came back and was like, there's a lot of jobs, everybody's nice there, let's start to tell everybody in the bin, and then more people started going.
Yeah.
So when my grandparents were young, they had 2 homes. They had a Thailand home, and then they also had a home in what's present-day Pakistan now.
Okay. Yeah.
And then a lot of our family was basically in both areas going back and forth. Okay. Then during the partition, like everybody was just forced out, and it was like either, you know, move to India or everybody can just move to Thailand.
It's Thailand, yeah.
So yeah. Wow. So then everybody was in Thailand. My parents were born and raised there. And they moved to, my dad moved to this country earlier when he was like in his late teens. Okay. And then once he married my mom came here too.
Yeah.
So every year, instead of, I know like I have so many friends who go back to India,
go back to the
right?
roots in India.
Yeah. So every year they're going back home to India. And home for me was Thailand.
That is such a cool concept. Yeah. Cool.
I have one great aunt in India right now. Like that's it. That's
your only family. The rest of your family's from Thailand.
Yeah, every other relative I have is either in Thailand or in somewhere else in the world, right? So my grandparents at the time, my mom's parents, both lived in Thailand. So it was super imperative that every single year we go back there to spend time with our grandparents.
Absolutely.
Spend times with my, you know, mamajis, my buajis, everybody else.
Of course.
So yeah, I mean, you know, going back there every year, obviously a part of it becomes who you are.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the like cultural aspects are very similar to, you know, I think a lot of the values that we share that the culture share are very, you know, intrinsically the same, but there's a lot of stuff that's different too, right? Like the language is obviously very different. The food's different.
Food is different, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And there's so many different things between both cultures, but there's a lot of similarities too. And when I was growing up, it's really funny actually. So my parents spoke a mix of English, Punjabi, and Thai. Wow. So like watching our home videos is really funny.
Yeah.
I don't even know what language is like being spoken at some points because it's like all mixed in.
It's a mixture of all three. Yeah.
And growing up, meeting more Punjabi people, I was speaking like words in Thai and they were like, what the hell are you saying?
Who are you? I thought you were one of us. Yeah.
And I didn't even realize that like half of this, not half of it, but like very small amounts of my Punjabi were like actually Thai words.
Oh my God. You didn't know growing up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like at a certain point they were like noticing that like we didn't know what was what. So they were like, okay, let's just speak Punjabi to them.
Sure. It confused you a little bit. When's the last time you went to Thailand?
Last year.
Nice.
Yeah, last year actually, like just about a year ago, we went in March. Yeah.
For someone, I've never been to Thailand. What is something that I absolutely have to do when I go to Thailand?
Eat.
So we love Thai food at home. My brother is the biggest Thai food fan. How does Thailand how does Thai food in America compare to Thai food in Thailand?
So it's so different nowadays. Like especially in New York, you can find really good Thai food on every corner almost.
Sure.
But back in the day when I was growing up, it was so hard to find certain dishes in America. Yeah. There's certain dishes that you need, you know, Thai basil for, and Thai basil doesn't grow as readily in America as it does in, you know, in Thailand.
Absolutely.
Lemongrass, like other certain like spices and vegetables that are just like, you know, more common over there.
Absolutely.
So there's certain dishes you couldn't find here. Now there's like almost any dish you want is anywhere, right?
Okay.
It's just about finding the right place. So
absolutely.
There's a lot of Thai places. I think this is like with every type of cuisine too. There's a lot of Thai places that cater to the non-Thai people. And then there's some that cater to Thai people.
It's like Chipotle for non-authentic Hispanic food. What's your favorite Thai dish?
Ooh, that's so hard, but Chinese broccoli, I think.
Okay, here's mine. Drunken noodles.
Okay, which I like.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Greetings. Pad Thai, not a big fan of. I think it's too common. Penang curry.
Penang's good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. And then sometimes we experiment out and we'll do like a red curry or like a spicy eggplant. But I've never heard of this Chinese.
So in Thai it's called pad khana. And it is stir-fried like Chinese broccoli. So a lot of places will serve it with pork. I just like straight up Chinese broccoli.
Wow, that is wild.
It's really good. The flavor to that vegetable is like, I don't know how to explain it, but it almost looks like, have you ever had broccoli rabe?
No.
Okay, so it almost looks like a broccoli rabe, but it's so hard to explain. Once you try it, you'll know that the flavor is just a little different.
Okay, I'm gonna have to try that. So anyone who knows me knows that I'm not good at discerning flavors when it comes to food. That's what like my fiance and my brother, they're all really good at that stuff. But I'm gonna make a note of Chinese broccoli rabe or Chinese.
No, well, so broccoli rabe is like a completely different vegetable.
Gotcha.
But you should try that too. Also,
yeah.
It's Italian. Well, I think most Italians will say it's Italian, but I don't know where else it is.
I'm gonna try Chinese broccoli. So okay, you started off almost doing chemistry.
Yeah.
Starting off with that, were you actually passionate about chemistry?
I was actually, and I still to this day I love like learning about science and like the reasoning behind certain things. As it relates in the medical field or in science, right?
Is there any mix between chemistry as a science and what you do as a fashion designer? Like, is there any way where those points cross in like a Venn diagram?
I mean, you could say, like, at one point I was considering doing textile design. And textile design involves a lot of chemistry, learning how like materials work and stuff like that. At the end of the day, that wasn't like my passion. My passion was actually creating, sketches and drawings and creating garments.
Of course.
But that's the only like intersect I could have seen at that time. I mean, maybe I just wasn't aware of some other intersect that exists.
Yeah.
But I don't really see that it crosses even now. I ended up majoring in nutrition because had I done the chemistry route, which I really loved, my advisor told me that I would have had to stay an extra year at school, and I was like, I want to get out of here. I want to start working.
Start working, making moves. That's.
But so nutrition, he was like, you should try and take a nutrition class, see if you like it, and what you can do with nutrition at UConn. It was a little flexible with like whatever upper level science classes you wanted to take.
Okay.
So you could do it within bio, within physics, within chemistry, whatever type of, upper level ones you wanted to do, you could. So he was like, you can still do a bunch of upper level chem classes like organic chem, inorganic chem, physical chem, all those stuff, all those things. You could still do it while pursuing a nutrition degree if you like nutrition.
Okay.
And I loved nutrition.
Yeah.
So it worked out so well. There was a good balance between the two, aside from the fact that I was taking like 22 credit semesters.
This is insanity. I don't know how. I just you saying organic chemistry has me sweating because I hated that class.
So it's really weird. I really loved organic chemistry.
You know what? I'm getting this interview right now. I'm just kidding. That's crazy. But it's crazy to know that you at some point like introspectively made the decision that you don't want to pursue that. I think that's like there's a lot of like force or push in our community or like that sort of like in the community in general that you have to sort of pursue something in a very like STEM or like technical major.
Yeah.
So for you to sort of like push beyond that and actually pursue something that you like and that you're really good at is very inspiring to me, and I'm sure everyone watching and listening. Do you recall any one specific moment where you were like, this is what I want to do. I want to go into fashion. I want to be a designer.
I don't really recall one specific moment. I mean, I was so fortunate that my family was so supportive. I think also being like the youngest child helped. My the rest of my siblings are all in, professions that I guess you would deem like more appropriate for South Asian.
Who we are as people.
And at one point when I was debating after that first year at UConn, like whether to apply to another school, my dad was like pushing me actually to go to a Parsons or an FIT or like some type of like fashion school. He was like, if you want to do it, just do it. Like go there. And I was like, no, I like don't know that I want to go to a completely like a school that's just completely dedicated to design. I wanted that like full experience. I still wanted some science in there.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think that there was one moment where I was like, I'm going to be a fashion designer.
Yeah, that's crazy. But here you are, and you mentioned that you did 2 classes in fashion.
In high school.
What sort of classes do you recall that you took in high school, and like what were those experiences like studying fashion in high school?
So I grew up in Fairfax County.
Okay.
And they had a program where like one of the high schools, or I think even 2 of them in the county, offered fashion design classes.
Wow, okay.
There was fashion design 1 and 2, and I took both of them. But you had to drive to another school in the morning for like the first class, and then you have to drive back, right?
The second, yeah.
So my mom, being the most amazing woman in the world,
yeah,
she would drive me. It's like so 25 minutes to that school. She would wait. She would do bot actually in the car while she waited for me. And then after my class was done, and I don't know how long classes were back then, like maybe like an hour, hour 15, something like that.
It's been so long.
Yeah.
Too long. Yeah.
After that, she would drive me back to my regular high school.
Oh my gosh.
So
yeah. What's the most important lesson you learned when studying fashion classes in high school?
I don't know. I think the fashion industry in general is like, it's very like mysticized in a way. I think like people look at it and they're like, oh, you're just making clothes. It's like easy, right? Yeah. When you go through the school, like through the class, it's like there's a lot of steps along the way that you have to go through in order to have like a, cohesive collection, to have a functioning garment, of course, it's hard. It's not just 1, 2, 3. And I think because a lot of people in our culture, especially like being South Asian, I think a lot of us don't really know that many South Asians in this industry, right?
No,
so you don't really have an idea of what goes into designing a collection, what goes into sewing a garment even.
Of course, which is why I'm excited to have you on the show here, because I've never met anyone who does something like this. And I'm sure a lot of people that are listening and watching also haven't met someone. So this is like, you're inspiring the future generation, but also just talking about your story, I think is absolutely brilliant. Let's talk a little bit about your collection.
Yes.
Your South Asian women's wear and menswear.
Yes.
How would you describe your brand?
The brand is definitely, it encompasses a more global aesthetic. So I like to say that we're inspired by Indian, by Thai, by, this like, global type of dress. Obviously we have lehengas and kurtas, but they, I think, transcend the traditional definition of those. And I think that besides for taking elements of those traditional pieces, and from where I come from, Thailand, India, even America, besides for that, it's like a mix of everything. It's almost like, I don't really like the word fusion, but it's kind of like that, right? Sure. You're mixing all these different things. So, there's definitely parts of the collection that are eccentric, a lot of bold colors, but versatility is one of like the most important parts of the actual clothing.
Of course, and walk me through what goes on in Harleen Kaur's mind when she starts creating a collection. You mentioned it's a lot of work. How do you start? Where do you draw these things together and put it all together and then eventually package it into this dope concept?
I get asked like, what's your inspiration behind this collection?
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't come from one specific place. I think a lot of designers do work in a way where, they have like Indonesia inspired them this year, or this artist inspired, this artwork of so-and-so inspired them
for
this
this
year.
collection.
I think like for me, there's, between traveling, between like the people I know, the people I meet, just walking on the streets of New York, there's so many different things you can be inspired by, and it just kind of, it's a mix of all of that for me. So sometimes I'll have an idea when I'm like on an airplane, right? So I'm just getting out my phone, like trying to draw in some like weird way.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
And editing my photos or something.
Oh my God, I do all the time.
Sometimes it happens on the subway, right? Like I don't know when I'm gonna get good ideas sometimes. So I try to write down all of the ones I have, try to like makeshift a little sketch on my phone sometimes if I have a piece of paper, doing it that way. If there's colors that I really like, I'll try to make a note of like, if there's like a really bright green that I love, I'll try and, incorporate that in there. Prints, I love prints. So
I've seen some of your stuff online. It's brilliant.
Thank you.
Of course.
Inspiration just kind of comes from anywhere.
Good.
Once I have those ideas, I am then sitting down and putting them kind of all together, right? So like maybe these like 5, 6 colors are like what's...
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, so the 5, 6 colors.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I'm not Harleen Kaur, but so you put the 5, 6 colors together. Yes, and then.
So I'm putting like the colors together, and then maybe like some print inspiration, and then I'm starting to sketch. So I sketch out, the ideas that I maybe wrote down or maybe I have in my head at this moment in time.
Sure.
I'm sketching out everything. So whether I feel like it's a good idea anymore or not, I'm just sketching it. Because it's easy to discard it after.
Of course. For your sketches.
Okay.
Is it something you learned how to do? Anyone who knows me knows many things about me, but I am really bad at drawing.
Okay.
As well. But did you take like sketching classes, or you're like, all right, cool, so the so and so happens?
Yeah. Well, so in school I was a costume design major, like I said. So we had classes that were based on like figure drawings, and actually this was more part of my art education.
Oh yeah.
So because I wanted to do costume design plus like I wanted some like fashion illustration background and like art and just other types of art mixed in there.
Of course.
I did like a customized degree in that, so I kind of did like both things, costume design and art.
And the art. Okay.
So we did like multiple classes with just nude figures, drawing, sketching, and then painting, sculpture, like everything that you do as like a general art major. I did those. And so with those you learn about the figure, about the body, and then you stylize it, right? Like I don't know if you've seen a lot of fashion illustrations, but a lot of them are like this long. When like they should be this long in like correct proportions.
Yeah, of course. The person's torso is like 7 feet.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of Game of Thrones character am I drawing out here? Now, are you inspired by shows like Project Runway or like the one costume design show? Do you watch those shows?
When I was younger, I watched Project Runway all the time. I felt like at a certain point it got a little bit too repetitive for me to keep up with. I do still think that some of those shows are really cool and insightful, right? Like you get to see what really goes on behind the stress levels are real.
Okay. Good to know.
And I mean, I don't know if it's like this with what you do also, but like, I don't think I am ever at a point where I'm like, I'm 100% confident that this is the best outfit I'm ever gonna make, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's always like, I'm pretty sure I like really love this. I hope it resonates with people.
Right.
Sometimes I like make something, and this is like a part of the process. You make samples, right? So we make initial samples. Well, I'm like jumping back, but after the sketching, you go into making like technical drawings for a pattern maker.
Right.
Once a pattern maker has a technical drawings, they do a first sample. Sometimes when I see the first sample, I'm like, this is amazing. I'm going to go to a second sample. Sometimes I'm like, this is shitty. I don't even want to consider it anymore. And, it's all part of the process. Because sometimes when you have something on paper, when you bring it to life, it doesn't look exactly the way you imagined it to look.
Of course.
And sometimes I have a final sample. I go through the entire process and I'm like, it doesn't look good anymore.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Is it ever like those art shows or movies where people are just like, you mentioned the stressful hours that people are like just drawing a sketch and then ripping it up and throwing it away. And it's like, oh my God, just pulling your hair.
I feel like I'm not that aggressive.
Sure. Just curious. I would love to know what goes on.
I mean, so in the sketching process, obviously I'm going through and saying like, maybe A and B are things that I want to proceed with. Maybe C and D are things I'm going to hold off on.
Okay.
Maybe towards the end of like the process, if I feel like I still want to add these in, I can. And then you also have to look at a collection and say like, these 3 tops look really similar. Do I really need all of them in the collection? Are all of them going to be sellable equally, right? Because at the end of the day, you need these garments to be worn by people, to be bought by people.
Of course.
Some of them obviously are like, aspirational items too. Not necessarily somebody, out of like the 100 customers you have, not even 50 maybe will be like, I really want this. But maybe 20 will be like, this is cool, this is new, I want to try this out.
Of course,
and then maybe the next season you have something similar to that, and then maybe like 50 people are willing to try it, right?
Okay. Wow. How is your knack for fashion, how does that inspire what you wear? And like the kind of clothes that you wear?
I was actually so we had an appointment the other day, and I was like talking to the customer about this. And I love color so much. When I'm like dressing up and like, really like making an effort, I'll put on like the brightest thing in my closet.
Nice.
But day to day, I'm like, I love living in sweatpants.
Nice. That's a move.
Sweatpants, like comfy clothes, like, and as I've gotten busier, it's so hard to like put an outfit together sometimes. I'm like, oh, sweatshirt, jeans.
Yeah, no one's gonna see me. Why put in the energy for
Yeah.
Nice.
So I mean, it definitely influences my like evening wear, mostly I think.
Sure.
Day-to-day wear for sure. If I'm going out to like, dinner with some friends or brunch on the weekends, like I'll throw on one of our like long skirts and like maybe a casual top and
nice.
style it in a different way.
Yeah.
But you know, if I'm just like hanging out at home.
Honestly, I don't blame you. Again, I mentioned to you earlier, I don't, like half the clothes I own now are because of my fiance. Like I don't know what to wear. You like colors.
I do. I love
What's
color.
your favorite color?
Oh, that's so hard. I love fuchsia.
Fuchsia. Oh, good choice. Yeah, fuchsia's a good choice. I think I learned about fuchsia during, it wasn't a crayon box. Did you ever, it's like the old school paint app way back when.
The one on like Microsoft?
It was either, I think
Windows?
I think so, or it was like a video game on like the computer. It's been a while now. But yeah, like one of the colors, they would say like cyan, and like you press it and it would say cyan. The one would say cerulean.
Okay, I don't know about this app.
Yeah. Well,
or the software.
Budding Gurpreet Sarin, fashion designer, circa 1993. There was like one that said magenta, and then there was one that said fuchsia.
Okay.
And I think I used to pronounce it like fuchsia or something.
I'm sure like I probably did that too.
Yeah, it's like a Pokemon. Yeah, so it's a fuchsia. That's a bright and a vibrant color.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any, you mentioned that you're inspired by everyday things. Whenever the inspiration hits you, you start drawing it out or writing out things. What fashion brand would, like, let's say you're obviously already successful, but like one day you get the opportunity to collaborate with this like super dope fashion brand.
Ooh.
Which one would you like to work with?
So I think the couple brands that have like influenced my design and taste the most and have inspired me the most are Elie Saab and Alice and Olivia.
Okay.
So I think one of those brands would be so cool to do collabs with, especially Elie Saab, because they do a lot more hand embroidery and beading, as opposed to, you know, I tried to keep stuff in like more wearable, versatile garments. There is definitely an element, especially in like the custom bridal stuff we do.
Sure.
We do hand beaded, like custom garments all the time, but being able to like collab with a designer like Elie Saab would be amazing.
That is dope.
Yeah.
Let's move into, you mentioned you did you also studied nutrition.
Yes.
And I often ask questions about nutrition as well.
Okay.
What is the most important thing about like nutrition? Because there's a lot of like fake news out there when it comes to like, I don't know, like intermittent fasting or XYZ, whatever. But like, what is something that you want people to know about nutrition from someone who's actually studied nutrition?
I think moderation and being able to execute something long term are the most important things.
Okay.
And obviously, I'm guilty of not doing this sometimes too. You sit with like a bag of cookies and you're having like 10 of them,
dude,
instead of just one or two.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I don't think you're meant to just eat one cookie. Like, I don't know anyone in the world that just buys, all right, I'm gonna go home and buy Chips Ahoy and just eat one and get.
It's hard.
It's impossible.
It's really hard.
It is very difficult. Yeah.
But I think like the most important, I think a lot of these like fad diets, especially, you are forced into a diet that you can't sustain long term.
Sure.
You know, not having carbs at all is really difficult. You become a very mean person.
I agree. Also, that's like unhealthy.
Yeah, it's not healthy for you because
healthy,
you physically most likely cannot sustain it for your entire life.
Of course.
And if you can't sustain something long term, then you're not making a lifestyle out of it, right? I think my like teacher actually in school used to always say that like she didn't like the word diets. She liked the word like lifestyle change. So if you want to become healthier, maybe you're eating one dessert per day versus a dessert at every meal.
Right.
You know, and maybe your dessert is smaller in portion.
Sure.
Than it would be, you know, normally.
Yeah. Right. Or like having 7 desserts on a Saturday.
Yeah, and crazy. Like making sure you're mixing every type of food and vegetable and grain and all that stuff. Like the better the variety, the better it is for your body.
That's good to know. So Harleen Kaur said here, it's not a diet. So next time I go to the restaurant, I'm not going to say I'm on a diet. I'm on a lifestyle change. I'm a lifestyle changer. Yeah, that's actually really dope. Have you ever tried oat milk?
I love oat milk. Oatly?
I've never had it before, so I know that there was soy milk and almond milk and then cashew milk. What is? Tell me more.
I don't even know when the first time I had it was at a coffee shop, and somebody had recommended. Oh, you know what? I think it was like. Have you had Cha-Cha Matcha before?
No, but I've had Cha-Cha Matcha. But for those of us who don't remember what it was, what is Cha-Cha Matcha again?
So it's like a matcha bar type of space in New York City. Oh, this is the one where
they have like the lava cakes with like matcha coming out of it.
Yes.
I don't like matcha, but okay, yes.
Okay. Well, The like soft serve is supposed to be, well, it is really good. I heard there was like a lot of hype on Instagram, to be honest.
Super hype.
I am the type of person, like as soon as I see some food related like hype, I'm going to that place and trying it.
Of course.
So I tried Chacha Matcha, really loved it. I think this was probably like third or fourth time I'd been there, and they have like a bunch, I think it was Chacha Matcha. If I'm wrong, this is going to be a really bad story.
Like one of the Broadway theaters or something. Yeah.
Somebody's going to go to Chacha Matcha and like ask for Oatly.
Like, what? Sorry, what?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Anyways, so I was like trying to decide what milk I wanted because they had like macadamia milk, almond milk, soy milk, all those.
All those, yeah.
And then I was like, what do you suggest to the barista? He was like, I really love this Oatly oat milk. And I was like, what the hell is that? I've never heard of it.
Oat milk,
Yeah, and he said Oatly at first. I'm like, what's Oatly?
Who's Oatly? I know Stan Lee, I know Bruce Lee. Who's Oatly? Okay, yeah.
I hadn't even heard of oat milk at this point. And he put it in the latte, and it was amazing. The way that it is like, I guess, steamed, it tastes as rich as regular milk, but it has a distinct flavor too. I don't know how to explain it, but it's really delicious.
Yeah.
So being ignorant, I was like, oh, all oat milk is going to taste the same. And then I tried oat milk from like 2 other brands, and like I was like, this is not the same at all. Oh. And then I went from store to store trying to find this brand Oatly.
I can see you walking around like that. Okay. And where did you find it?
It was actually my fiance found it. He found it at a coffee shop in Phi Dai, and it was in their like refrigerator. So like they sold it too, and it was like $10 per gallon or per like carton,
classic,
which is
classic Phi Dai move.
Yeah,
classic financial
which is not cheap at all. But we were like, we're gonna get this. So he takes 2 to take home.
Yo,
I'm getting another one for my apartment, and it's the best. Okay. So wait, why did you ask about oat milk?
Well, you mentioned nutrition.
Okay.
And so people in my office talk about like overnight oats and all these like new trends, like smoothies, all that kind of stuff. And I guess oat milk is the new like almond milk or cashew milk. It's basically the new milk.
Yeah. I would definitely would say it's like the new trend, but it's also really good.
Yeah. Is kale still a thing, or is there like have they replaced it with something else now?
I don't know. I mean, I still really like kale.
Yeah.
But this is a fun fact. I read or watched this somewhere. I don't know. Back in the day, nobody ate kale when we were growing up, right? Like, okay, yes, I don't even think I knew what kale was.
Yeah.
Apparently, the #1 like consumer of kale in the country was McDonald's, because they used it outside. This is really funny.
Wait,
they used it outside as decoration. So like, if you walk the streets of a lot of places, you'll see kale, and like, like outside of restaurants and stuff, they have like those little planters.
Oh yeah.
Kale actually looks really pretty, like a certain type of kale.
Sure.
It looks like a cabbage flower almost.
Yeah. Wow. And so McDonald's
was like the biggest consumer of, I guess, I don't even know if it's like technically a consumer, but like they're buying the most kale in the country.
And that wasn't even for their food. Leave it up to McDonald's to make it look good, but not even put it in the food that matters the most. Classic McDonald's.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know where I heard that, but I was like, this is wild.
Yeah, I feel like I've already learned so much about you. Not even related to fashion. There's this Oatly. There's McDonald's brand kale.
I know. I feel like I need to do something with food at some point because I love food so much.
So here's a trend that happened a while back. Lady Gaga was wearing food. People put like avocados in their socks, just like not actual avocado, like the print.
Oh, okay. I was like,
but Lady Gaga actually wore like real meat or something. I don't know. Would you ever incorporate nutrition and like dress people up in kale? I don't know. Just giving you ideas here.
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe for like a crazy art exhibit, it'd be kind of cool, but I don't think that's very wearable.
Yeah, I clearly am not in the right field.
I mean, maybe a cool print that like incorporated some like cool looking vegetables or something.
Kung Pao chicken on like the sleeve of your blazer or something. Where do you shop for clothes?
I love Reformation. I love Everlane. So one of like the reasons why like I started the brand was also because I watched this documentary called True Cost. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, this is where they talk about like the H&M and the Zara.
It's so sad.
This is crazy. Half the people I interview, by the way, we wear H&M and Zara. So check it out because it is interesting. Yeah.
And I am not saying I'm perfect either, right? Like I still over the years have shopped at Zara, at Macy's, at like Bloomingdale, at like all these different places that I probably shouldn't have.
Okay.
Even now, like I'm not saying I 100% don't buy anything from those stores, but I would say 95% of my purchases in the year are from places where I feel like I am not putting people's lives in danger.
Yeah.
And after watching that documentary, it was really sad. Like, they interviewed people in Bangladesh and overseas, and just like seeing the working conditions, and then you hear about all of this stuff in the news all the time, right?
Course,
like factory fires, they covered a building collapse, which like left over 1,000 workers dead in Bangladesh, and it was just really sad to know that like us wanting to spend $5 on a t-shirt is putting these people's lives in danger.
Agreed, yeah.
And not to say that like you are a terrible person if you shop at one of these places, because everybody has their own values, their own beliefs, and you know, their own finances to handle.
Right.
But for me, I would rather buy one piece of clothing at, you know, $50 instead of buying 5 different pieces at $10 each.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I really like the ethical brands.
Of course. So you were inspired because of this documentary.
Yeah.
Man, I will say, so I started watching a lot of documentaries recently myself. And there's one, it wasn't Forks Over Knives. There was one about like the vegan, vegetarian movement. I'm forgetting which one.
I've watched like all of them.
Yeah, so every 6 months I switch back and forth from like vegetarian to non-vegetarian.
Okay.
And sometimes it's due to me watching a documentary about like nutrition or food, and it'll be like, like What the Health or Forks Over Knives or Earthlings or one of these, and I'll keep switching back and forth because of that. But yeah, documentaries are a great way to learn. I just have to start implementing what I'm learning.
We're totally in the same boat, because I've gone from like veganism to not, like I don't know how many times over the past like 5-6 years. I came to the realization that I don't think, for me personally, I'm ever, at this point in my life, I don't want to be completely vegan.
Sure.
But like for my apartment, I only buy vegan things. So no dairy, no eggs, no meat in my apartment.
Nice, incredible.
But when I go out, I still like love trying new foods and stuff. So I try not to be as strict when I go out. If there's something I really want to try, a place that, you know, is serving pork or fish or something, like I'll still try it.
Yeah.
But it's not part of my diet consistently. I don't have to have one meat per day, per meal. Of course.
You're not like driven against veganism because you love bacon or like, this is my kryptonite, I can't stop. For you, it's like you just like food, so you don't want to restrict yourself from trying.
Exactly.
But you keep that sort of like the vegan atmosphere at home.
Yeah.
We're on different boats because I can eat a rock with hot sauce. Just let that sink in for a little bit. Yeah, I can literally eat anything. So I don't know too much about food or like tastes and stuff. So for a while I thought it was very easy for me to just like stick to eating. I think it was just Chipotle for the rest of my life. And I thought I could, and then there was a lot of sodium, and the whole E. coli thing with the lettuce happened. And then I thought I could, there's some like from Costco, there were these, like this rice bowl thing.
I don't think I've tried that.
Yeah, it's not very good. I had that with guacamole on the side, and then I took it to work, and the first 5 days were great, then eventually it tasted like bangin puerta, and it got really mushy, and I was very depressed about it for a little bit. Anyway, the point being, I guess we're on similar boats, but you're doing it for sustainable health reasons. So speaking of documentaries, are you also inspired by like fashion-related films or shows or other media that talks about fashion?
I don't know about inspiration coming from certain fashion-related TV shows or movies. You know, I think there's a lot of shows I watch, Game of Thrones being one of them.
Oh yeah.
And the fashion in Game of Thrones is
talk to me about the fashion of Game of Thrones, because I've talked about other aspects of Game of Thrones, but fashion,
It's just really interesting. The whole idea of Game of Thrones, it doesn't fit into a certain time period in like our existence, right? It's not like this was medieval times or this is, you know, the turn of the 18th century or whatever.
Sure.
It's kind of like a milieu of like all these different types of things. So the costumes reflect that too. And it's so cool to see that some of these things, like you can see that this is inspired by, you know, medieval dress. This is maybe inspired by Victorian dress or whatever it is. It's really cool to see this like huge mix of all of these different types of styles. And they created something that wasn't I mean, in my mind, this is my understanding of it. They created costumes that you couldn't look at it and place it within a certain period necessarily. It was confusing to like, you know, look at and know like this is exactly where this came from. So I thought it was really cool.
And I wonder if that was intentional because they didn't want to be wrong about putting like the wrong like type of outfit with a certain like incorrect theme or era. Do you think that's it?
I don't know, but I like watched. I was obsessed. I still am obsessed with Game of Thrones.
Coming out soon. Coming out very soon. Yeah.
But I like watched something after the show or like some type of like special they had at one point, and they were talking about how they created the language and how they had to do a similar thing, right? So like they had to make sure that it didn't sound exactly. I think what's the language called? Like
Valerian?
Is it
High Valeri.
Maybe something like
Valerie.
that.
Something. Yeah, something. Yeah.
So whatever the language's name was or is, they tried to mix like all these different types of languages so that you couldn't really put it towards or like you couldn't say this came from, you know, this exact country or whatever.
On a plane ride once to California, I met the creator of Klingon, you know, the Star Trek language.
I am not a Star Trek person.
Honestly, neither was I. But for 6 hours, I was very excited to talk to him. But same thing. He also made the Atlantean, something of the Atlantis Disney movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, same thing. He like created these languages. He's like the father of Klingon. At one point, I might get him on the show. But yeah, same thing. He was talking about how it's like you couldn't make it like English or a different language. You kind of had to blend them all together, which is just a wild concept. Who's your favorite Game of Thrones character? Go.
Oof. I don't know. I want to say Jon Snow just because I'm in love with him. But I really do like Daenerys too.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, this is like so cliche too. I feel like everybody's like Jon Snow and Daenerys.
Daenerys, Tyrion, Arya's gonna kill everyone anyway. It doesn't matter. I think.
Who's yours?
Same. It's annoying because
it's between the two.
So it's Tyrion.
Oh wow. Okay, I feel like that's a little bit out of the norm, right?
But everyone I know loves him.
Okay.
Yeah. Tyrion, Daenerys, Jon Snow, Arya is cool.
Oh, I like Arya too.
Yeah, I feel like who do you think you'd be friends with if you were like jumped into the show?
If I jumped into the show,
I mean, obviously you want to be best friends with Jon Snow and Daenerys and the squad.
Yes. Oh, you know who I loved? Was her name Ygritte? Jon Snow's like lover.
Oh my God, the wild lady.
Yeah.
She was wild. Yeah,
she was like, she seemed like a cool person. I feel like I could like hang out with her.
She was like a badass. Yeah. And then she got like an arrow like to the chest or something. Was that her?
I forgot how she died.
Here's my thing. Everyone dies, so there's no point trying to become friends with anyone. In the show. In life is a very different story.
You know who I did really like too? Rob Stark.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he died so early,
Rob
but like
too early.
I liked his ethics.
He was a good guy.
He was a good guy.
He was a very good guy.
So was Jon, which is I feel like that's why I like him. And Daenerys, like more so now than in the beginning.
Yeah.
I think she was like a little more like ruthless in the beginning.
I think so. And then she learned over time not to be like her brother. And then and then I think the character development in that show is wild.
Yeah.
So I feel like they make the show in a way where you can't like certain people.
You can't like certain people, like who?
Like Cersei. Like Cersei. Like the Lannisters for the most part. You're not supposed to like them.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if you're a Harry Potter fan, but like Slytherin, like you're not supposed to like that house or that sort of thing. Which is unfortunate because Cersei might be a cool person to be friends with. She's not killing you and your neighbors and everyone you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you are the people you surround yourself with too.
This is very philosophical. Right? Yes.
No, I really do believe this because I feel like the more negativity you surround yourself with, it just like unconsciously too, or subconsciously too, like it becomes a part of you. And if you surround yourself with positive people or people that are, you know, really outgoing and stuff, you start to like try and, I don't know like the mental aspect of this. Like, I don't know how to speak exactly to like how this works, but I really do believe this.
I believe it also. I love how we're also able to just like analyze Game of Thrones and it applies to life in so many ways. This is like, it's just very deep. It's just incredibly deep. That show's coming back, I think, in April 13th?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my God. I am very excited about that show.
Me too.
So it's cool to know that you were actually able to see a show and then look at their outfits and their wardrobes with their background in like fashion and costume design. Have you ever seen a movie or a show and just realized, yeah, these guys really effed up. Like wrong era, wrong outfit. That needs to go. That like just like talk me through that.
I don't think there's not one that's like very vivid in my memory.
Okay.
But I do tend to really recognize the costume design, and I don't know if that's because I majored in costume design, so I really like, pay attention to that type of stuff, because we always learned that costumes can like make or break. Besides for like, if people aren't even speaking yet and you see the costumes, a lot of people associate that with a certain type of culture or a certain type of era, and the costumes can speak for themselves too. So yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything that I've been like, this is fucking horrible.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
But
also like a political correct response where it's like, I understand where you're coming from and you're trying to be good about it. That makes sense. And you mentioned that you get inspiration, your background in Thailand.
Yeah.
You're also Punjabi. You're like the melting pot of the melting pots within just one person. Do you travel to India now as well? I know you barely have anyone there now.
No, yeah, we barely have anybody there. But a few years ago when my brother was getting married, his now wife wanted to go for wedding shopping.
Wedding shopping in India. Yeah, okay.
So I was definitely reluctant to go. My brother was like, you have to come with me.
Yeah. Well, why were you reluctant?
Well, honestly, India doesn't excite me as much as Thailand does. And maybe it's because I don't have as much family there.
Maybe
and
not
like,
as much of a connection.
I don't feel, like, I don't know what year it was, but you hear about like these girls like getting abducted on the streets, like raped, and like really like brutal things, and it makes me so unenthusiastic about the country in general when you hear about like how women are treated there in general. So and not to say that this stuff doesn't happen in Thailand, because like there's human trafficking left and right in that country.
Definitely,
but I just didn't know any other aspect of India, right? Because like all I hear is like on the news, and then like what friends are telling me about how dirty it is.
Of course. Oh yeah. Oh my God.
So I just didn't really have like a huge desire to go. I'd been when I was younger with my parents as a family. We went to like Golden Temple and Amritsar. We went to the Taj Mahal. We did like the touristy type stuff.
Okay.
So didn't really want to go, but ended up going. And that was the last time I went.
Yeah. Do you also travel often around the world? Like big fashion capitals, different locations?
Yeah, I mean, my travel isn't necessarily based on like, I want to go to see the fashion or whatever. But I love traveling. So whenever I get a chance to go somewhere, I'm like booking a plane in like 2 seconds, or the trip in 2 seconds.
Okay.
One of like the most difficult parts about starting this business is I don't have as much time to travel. It's really, things aren't consistent enough yet that I can say like, 3 months from now I can take this 1 or 2 weeks off.
Right.
It's like I'll get an order today and somebody's like, the dress I got for my wedding is really messed up. I need something new by next month. And so it's hard for me to say, and I don't have like a huge team with me that I can like just pawn off this type of stuff to when I'm away. So it's hard for me to really plan things, I think. And also I just didn't even know the nature of, the busy seasons that I would have. And I think now I've realized, there's certain months or like times in the year that it's a little slower, and maybe those are the best times to take a vacation.
What are your busiest seasons?
Last year, so I mean, I've only been doing this for about 2 years now, so it's really hard to gauge it exactly. Because some of the months are like really crazy one year, and then they weren't as crazy last year, and then vice versa. But I think December consistently across both years weren't that busy.
Okay, good.
And I was like, doing an analysis, trying to like figure out exactly why. I think people are really busy with like holidays, traveling.
Winter,
I found that January this year was really busy in terms of like people coming in for custom things for their wedding. So, sherwanis for the guys, wedding lehengas for the girls, or whatever it is. I think some of them like even like planned to go wedding shopping in December, whether it was like India or like Vancouver or something. They did that, and then they came back and they were like, I didn't find anything I liked for so-and-so event, so I want to like start the process of doing this.
In Harleen Kaur, that is so dope.
So, I mean, and then some people are just like, I'm going to wait till January to plan anyways, right?
Yeah,
so
of course.
January was pretty busy. The last couple months have been just wild getting the new collection ready. But I haven't seen like an exact drop in any certain month except for December.
Sure. I know very little about fashion, especially wedding-related fashion. But any like women and sometimes guys my age will know of like the top tier Indian like wedding designers.
Okay,
the
yeah.
Sabyasachi's,
Yeah, yeah.
Anita Dongre's. What are your thoughts on them?
I truly admire a lot of these big Indian designers.
Sure.
I think it's great, obviously, that they are taking traditional handcraft from India and, you know, making it, like Sabyasachi does this a lot. He features a lot of traditional types of weaving and fabrics and stuff like that, which I think is really, really cool. I do think that living in India, most of them, they're catering towards a different crowd.
Yeah. Okay.
I just think like as Americans, having a heritage that, you know, is pulled from, for me, for Thai, but like for most, you know, like Indian, Punjabi, whatever it is, our style is just different. And I think that a lot of those designers don't necessarily address that.
Sure.
And, you know, rightfully so in some ways, right? Like their main market is India.
India, yeah.
And maybe like the surrounding countries.
Correct.
But I feel like none of them have really like given the people outside of India like a true voice of like, this is, you know, for you. And I think I really do think that like that can only come from within too, right? Like we have experienced being Americans my whole life. I have.
Of course.
So, you know, I feel like I understand what I want and what my friends want and what is needed in this country.
And then you're able to express yourself according to who you think you are and who you are. Yeah.
But, you know, for those brides who really want something super traditional, it's amazing to have those designers to pull from. They have really phenomenal garments and style. Like, and there's so many people I know who are like, I want to get married in a Anita Dongre dress or, you know, in a Sabyasachi sherwani. Yeah,
so I think so. We went to India for wedding shopping about 6 months ago.
Okay.
And it was a pleasure, obviously, accompanying my fiance to these places, like Sabyasachi, Anita Dongre, and a lot of women that are like on Instagram that they're getting married or are interested in bridal fashion. Sabyasachi is like the main person. You go there, you check it out. And when we got there, we immediately recognized, unfortunately, that if you're not Deepika Padukone or Priyanka Chopra, you can't really customize those kind of outfits, which is tough because
that's interesting.
Yeah, which is tough then because you're looking at this one bridal lehenga, which might be $10,000, 15 something, and you can already see other people that have worn that outfit before in the past, and it doesn't become as intimate or unique. Yeah. So it's hard to like customize those kind of things.
I didn't know that. So unless you are like a big name, they won't let you customize anything.
That's the impression I got. You guys got. Okay. Yeah, that's the impression I got. And I wasn't trying to customize my outfit. I guess it was like the bridal lehenga. Yeah. And so that's something that my fiance told me, and I wasn't sure. But it makes sense. I guess that they cater to a very specific crowd, and then the big names get the really cool, dope outfits. Yeah. So that was a little unfortunate. Do you customize things depending on the client and change things around? Yeah. This is why I like it better than Sabyasachi. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's, again, like so important that like our aesthetic, just being Americans, is just so different. Yeah. And every girl and guy, not every, but a lot of girls and guys have these ideas of what they want to wear, right? They see like, you know, 100 different sherwanis or 100 different lehengas, and they're like, you know, I really liked this aspect of this one and this color, and then this print I think is really cool. Like they want something that's unique. Of course, I totally appreciate that, because anything that I wear, I'm like, I want it to be unique too. Totally, And there's some outfits that like, you don't need to be completely unique with, but like on your wedding day, I feel like you should aspire to have something unique that's like, that is a really good representation of you and maybe the person you're marrying, right?
Of course.
So initially when I started the brand, I didn't think that there would be that many people who are interested in doing that.
Yeah.
I definitely knew that I was interested in doing it. I know that like in order to do it, it costs a lot of money. Like being able to having like to sit down with the customer, getting to know them, getting to know their personality, what they want, looking at their inspiration, their mood board of like what they want, and then sitting down and designing things, finding fabrics, maybe doing like a custom embroidery on something. It all takes a lot of time and a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that that was going to be my main gig.
Yeah.
But over time, I had like a lot of people requesting it, and I had always advertised like we can do this.
Yes.
I just didn't think it was going to be like such a huge portion of the business, and now it really is.
So when you get married,
yes.
Are you gonna design your own outfit? What are your thoughts?
Yeah,
That's so exciting.
I'm getting married this year.
Congratulations. Okay.
And thank you. And I haven't like planned any of my outfits.
Wow, that's huge. Okay.
My mother-in-law to be has been asking like every, I would say, couple weeks.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Like, so did you decide the colors yet?
Yikes.
Because she wants to plan everything else.
I know.
And like, I just haven't had time to.
Yeah.
And it's like, definitely stress levels are increasing.
I can only imagine. But again, like you being in that sort of like fashion design realm.
Yeah.
Have you thought about designing?
I'm definitely designing, yeah.
Oh,
sorry,
so
I like
cool.
didn't even answer the question.
No, I didn't need to.
My stress was like.
I was like, yeah. But you're designing your own outfit.
Definitely designing mine. Definitely designing my fiance's. Definitely designing my family members.
That is so exciting.
Bridesmaids, groomsmen, all that stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
It's gonna be an HK wedding.
Yeah, it's a Harleen Kaur wedding. That's so cool. Yeah. Who's like a celebrity or an icon that you would love for them to like rock your outfit? Just because I think you like their vibe would match what your brand is, or someone that you just like as an icon or celebrity.
Lily Singh.
Oh yeah. Oh, there we go. That'd be dope.
I am so freaking excited that she got a TV show. She got
a new talk show.
I'm so excited.
That's so
she
dope.
just seems like such a down-to-earth, genuine person, and
course.
I think the idea of her wanting to empower other women, like that's how she started.
That's how she started. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's really inspiring, and I think that the voice that she gives to South Asians, to Punjabis, is really like she's totally herself. I mean, I personally watching her can't think she's any other person.
She's herself.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
course.
that's like who she is, and it seems like she's very true to who she is.
I think so.
And I love like the fact that you can find her in a gown looking amazing, and then you can find her in like the coolest like Adidas tracksuit or something.
Like urban outfit.
Yeah, and I think that that's like a really cool, like she has great style, and I think that that's like a really cool thing that can be done with a lot of our garments too. You know, like you could take a crop top, wear it with like some cool like streetwear type sweats or something, and like sneakers, and like rock it and look totally, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. And I know that she was rocking. Have you heard of the company Nor Black Nor White?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so I went to India and to Delhi, and Manveer, one of my cousins, my fiance's cousins, he took me to their store in Delhi. And they're like a clothing design and fashion company. Okay. And like we have to do a little cute photo shoot with them, and we tried on their outfits. And yeah, like Lily Singh was wearing one of their outfits to, I think, like a basketball game recently.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if you saw it, but it's like the cool like checkered design. But yeah, it's like some kind of clothing
Was it to the All-Star
company.
game?
I think so. Was it the one? Yeah, the All-Star game.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I did see that. I didn't know it was the brand.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was that brand.
They're like collaborating with, I think, with like Fila, and there's some cool stuff
cool.
over there. But yeah, I could.
And they're an Indian-based brand.
They're an Indian-based brand.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Nor Black Nor White.
Definitely gonna have to look that up.
And you mentioned Lily Singh because she was like rocking their clothes, so it'd be dope if you got.
Yeah.
How do you get Lily to rock her clothes? Like, would it be something that when you get famous enough that she's like, oh my God, HK, I gotta rock this? Or is it like you reach out to their manager? Do you show up to her house with an outfit? How does that work?
I don't think I'd be aggressive enough to like
option 3.
At that.
100%, option 3, yeah.
I don't think I'm capable of that. But yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, figuring out how to get in touch with her manager or whatever would be one avenue. I met her a long time ago at Elite 8. She was doing like a vlog. Is it vlog or vlog?
Well, here's the question: is it blog or blog?
It's blog.
So I guess
is this vlog? Okay, I don't know.
Vlog. I think it's vlog.
It just sounds so weird to say.
Hi, how can I vlog you? Yeah, it sounds really weird. Okay, but something. Yeah, the video log.
Whatever, yeah.
Video log, yeah.
It was for her YouTube channel.
I remember this, and she was like talking to like the Bangla teams.
Yeah. So I was actually part of the staff that year. My brother was part of the entertainment company that like ran the Elite 8.
Yeah. Oh, that's wild. Okay.
So, I got to like talk to her a little bit, and at that point she wasn't as big as she is right now, and
of course.
She was so nice.
Yeah.
She was so sweet. Obviously, I don't know how to get in touch with her.
Yeah. Build a time machine. Go back in time to that vlog and
like get her phone number or something.
Yeah. Wait, you mentioned you were in Fairfax County.
Yeah.
Is that in like Virginia, Fairfax County?
Yeah.
Oh, are you? I'm from Maryland. So,
yeah. So I remember I wanted to like ask you about this too.
Yeah, of course.
Most of like the DC, Maryland, Virginia, like Punjabi people know each other.
They're like 1 degree of separation.
So I'm sure we have like 1 degree for sure. There's probably somebody we even know that's like even more of an overlap.
Out of the camera, I'll ask you for names because it'd be really awkward if I'm like, do you know Papu? And they're like, who? Because I remember I played Tolki at Elite 8 for some Gidda team.
Okay.
I think it was the same year. I don't remember now.
That team. Well, so I was part of the staff that year. I don't know if this was like the first or second year. I was like a liaison or something like that. And then the next year I was actually on SMD.
Oh.
And then I danced.
Like Bangla team. Oh, so you do Bangla as well?
I do, yeah.
That is dope. Yeah.
Well, did.
They're a great team.
Yeah.
So you don't do Bhangra anymore?
No, I was just so I danced at school at UConn for Husky Bhangra. And then after I graduated, I moved to White Plains when I was working at Nine West.
Yeah, okay.
And then a friend of mine had like mentioned SMD was having like tryouts or something, and I was like, oh, that's like so cool because I still wanted to dance.
Yeah.
So I tried out for the team, made it, was on the team, and then that year we did a few competitions. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And I loved hanging out with all girls.
They're
it was
so
cool.
dope.
Yeah.
You don't see that a lot in the Bhangra team. That's such a cool concept.
And at that time, like I think they were the only all girls team, or maybe
SMD
like
was the only one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe DCBC came like later on or something.
Yeah. And I actually at that time I think there was more than one, but I think like they were one of the first, if not like
and one of the best.
Yeah, definitely. And it was like amazing to be a part of the team. It was like amazing to learn. I thought I was good until I joined that team.
Dude. So I hosted Bruin Bhangra a few years back.
Okay.
And I think SMD was competing.
Okay, so I actually danced at Bruin. Which year was it?
What year is it right now? 2019.
Oh.
It is 2019 right now. It was
okay, yeah, wait. I was like, wait, Bruin hasn't even happened this year, has
I danced at 2019 Bruin. It was 2016.
Oh, okay, that's like
15?
way past me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I danced, and I think it was 2012.
Okay, yeah, it was like 20. Okay, but I like seeing them on videos is cool, but then when you're standing next to them on stage and watching them like doing batka and jumping and doing crazy stuff, you're like, wow, these women can dance. Like, it was so dope. Yeah.
I definitely felt intimidated when I didn't even think I was going to make the team, and then I did, and I was like, this is amazing, but I doubt I'll ever dance. And then, it taught me a lot. Like, there was our coach, Avi, he was from Rutgers. He definitely helped us, become better dancers. And then there was a lot of, senior dancers on the team that would help critique, and just, it was fun, and I became a much better dancer after that team.
That's awesome.
But it was very time consuming.
It takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Have you danced on a team before?
I did. So I helped start, do you know Terrapin Bhangra in University of
Oh,
Maryland?
yeah.
So I helped start that team. AKA
so
I'm
cool.
like a grandfather now, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know totally.
Yeah.
And that was difficult because we're starting from scratch. So for us, we were basically stalking SMD YouTube videos and DCBC, and like all these different videos. VCU Bhangra was big by then.
Oh, yeah.
To learn Bhangra and then eventually learn choreography and then teach people.
Yeah.
But yeah, like many hours of the day. And I wasn't majoring in Bhangra in college, so I couldn't justify spending that much time.
But you were also, so like the weeknights were essentially like you're just either studying or probably practicing, right?
Yeah.
And then the weekends you kind of have to yourself.
Of course.
Okay, so that's how it was at our school too.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And then with SMD, it was not that way.
Because it's not a college Bhangra team.
No, and like a lot of the people are traveling and commuting into the city for practice. So we had practices on like Saturdays, Sundays. And my family lives in Virginia. A bunch of my friends lived in Connecticut. Like I didn't really have many people in New York, really.
Yeah.
So on the weekends, that was the time when I was like traveling,
Yeah.
And it was really hard to manage. I felt like I didn't have enough time in the day to do everything.
Sure.
And so like after that first year, I was kind of reluctant to continue dancing, but I loved it so much.
That's awesome.
And I think like the deciding factor was like I had problems with like my toe.
Okay, what kind of problems did you have?
So I like ended up going to I think it's podiatrist.
Okay, yeah, the foot doctor.
Yeah, the foot doctor.
The doctors, yes.
And he diagnosed me with what was called Morton's neuroma. It's like one of the nerves in between two of my toes is like chronically inflamed, because you know how you're on the balls of your feet the entire time. Correct. It puts a lot of pressure on. So a lot of people who either dance with, that type of incline, or who wear heels a lot. Yeah. And as I had told you
before the show started, yeah.
I like the way heels look, but I don't necessarily like the way they feel. Yeah. So I wasn't like a huge heel wearer to begin with.
Sure.
So it was definitely because of the dancing, and like over time it went away. And he was like, the only other thing you could do is like surgery. And I was like, I don't want to do surgery. I'm like 22, 23 years old. Like, I don't want to have foot surgery right now.
That's dangerous. And what was it called? Morton's who?
Morton's neuroma.
That sounds like a good name for like a coffee shop or like a bakery. Morton's neuroma.
That does actually.
Yeah.
I could see it being a coffee shop, or like
without shoes on. You have to walk in like without shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. That's interesting.
Yeah, because it's related to, and everyone's really nervous because it's something related to your nerves. It's a work in progress. Harleen, I know depending on when we release this episode, your new collection will have dropped or it's gonna drop.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your new collection.
So it's really exciting. This is the first collection I have launched doing this full time. Wow. So I was still working part-time, consulting and stuff before. Sure. And I decided last year that like I wanted to do this full time. It was at the point where I was like, it's getting to, a point where I can make a living off of this.
Of course.
And I focused 100% of my time on this. So it's really exciting to see that everything that, all the time and effort that I spent on it is like culminating into this large collection. So
man, this is so awesome.
We're doing 2019 this year.
Okay.
So there's no spring, summer, or fall, winter, summer, pre-summer, pre-fall, whatever it is. It's just 2019.
Wow. Okay.
So it's a big collection, but it's meant to allow people to take from it what they want, right? Okay. So it's very seasonless. If you are comfortable with wearing black in July, there's something for you. If you want to wear something bright and neon in July, there's something for you.
Yeah.
If you want prints, there's a plethora of prints in like muted tones and, bright, bold tones. I tried to include a lot of the elements that I really love and that I felt like customers had told me they really loved about the collection. Sure. I think what's really, really nice is that since I've had a few collections already, I get feedback from people. And
good.
I love getting feedback from people, good or bad. Constructive criticism is always like really helpful.
Absolutely, yeah.
So when people are like, we really loved the florals that you did, like you should do more. I'm like trying to like listen to people and trying to give them more within reason, obviously.
Nice, yeah.
But yeah, so it's a 2019 collection. So I truly believe in this idea of slow fashion. Okay. I don't believe in, trying to convince people to buy something from me every single week or every single month of the year. I really, this idea of like consumerism is so rampant in the fashion industry, and being like a clothing brand, you would think that I would care more about that, but I really dislike this idea of, we have a tendency as Americans especially, we like overconsume and we underuse.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I like the idea of getting, like I said before, one or two pieces that might be a little more expensive because they're produced in the US.
Yeah,
they're
ethically produced.
Quality products that are going to have longevity in your closet. They're going to be long lasting for you. And it's not going to go out of style either, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I think it's like, having a black kurta is something really, it's going to be with you forever, as long as it's going to last.
Yeah.
So giving people those types of pieces in your closet that will stay there, that can be your go-tos for events or for whatever, I think is more important to me. So doing that for a lot of people versus selling a lot of my clothes to a small amount of people is more important.
Of course.
So, having a seasonless collection is obviously ideal for that, because if I'm releasing it in the early parts of the year, people can get what they want from it whenever they want throughout the year. And then I'll release new things once in a while throughout the course of the year. So maybe if there's a fabric I come across that I like absolutely love, maybe I'll do like 1 or 2 new pieces in that in like May or September or whatever. It's just kind of like, I didn't really want to stick to the regimented, like, this is our spring summer collection and
this is our collection.
Exactly.
Okay. This reminds me of an episode of Coffee with Karan. Have you seen that show before?
I haven't.
So it's a talk show featuring Karan Johar, who's like an Indian director. He's an Indian director. I knew that on my own. But one episode featured, I think it was Badshah and Diljit Dosanjh.
Okay.
And he was pulling out clothes. They both are very big into fashion.
Can I add that, like, I would love if Diljit Dosanjh wore my stuff too.
100%. Oh my God, yes.
He would look so dope in a floral pug.
I agree. He's never worn that yet, has he?
Not that I've seen.
Yeah.
He probably has, and like I haven't seen it, but
yeah, I feel like if you were to rock some of your collection.
Oh yeah. He I don't know, his personality kind of reminds me of Lily Singh too, actually.
Like just extravagant, outgoing.
Yeah, and he seems like really like genuine, true to himself,
very
right?
Very humble and very genuine. So according in that interview, Diljit doesn't splurge on anything except for clothes.
Okay.
So he's like a very simple guy, but when it comes to clothing, he gets like the next level, like fancy shit.
Yeah.
So in this episode, Karan Johar is testing Badshah and Diljit's knowledge of fashion because they both wear like high-end fashion. And you mentioned these like collections. It's interesting because he'll pull out something and they have to guess which collection it's from, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is from Gucci 2017 collection spring," or "This is from Balenciaga like fall 2019 collection." Like they'll know all these kind of things. And I thought that was wild. If I were ever in that show and it was your clothes, I would just be like, it's Harleen Kaur 2019. Like, you don't have to know where it's from. It's all from that one year.
I'm allowing like your trivia to be more like
easy. Yeah. Thank you for making everyone's fashion trivia a lot easier, Harleen. If you can describe your brand in a few words, how would you describe your brand?
Versatile, ethical, bold. I think, is that a few? Yeah, 3? That's
a few. Versatile, ethical,
I haven't got this question ever, actually. And it's like, I haven't thought about it.
Yeah, but this is exciting because you're now like full-time starting with collections and like your brand's definitely going to grow. But it's really cool to see like from the starting, these are the kind of things that matter to you. So I'm excited to see how it grows.
Definitely. I mean, there's so many different reasons why like I started this. And those, I think 3 reasons are probably some of the, and I guess like, authentic and transparent. Transparent's another big one. Like we are pretty consistent with our markups. We take between 50-70% profit. Because I personally, again, would rather sell to more people, make it more accessible to people versus taking 500% profit on something and selling it to a smaller amount of people. I think like within our country in general, there's like something like 4, maybe 5 million South Asian or people that identify as like Indian Americans. Yeah. So this doesn't even include the other South Asians.
Not at all.
And I don't think that there's very many options out there for them. So I think like being able to be accessible, at least in up to a certain degree to these people is like super important. And producing in the US, like ethical production is, I think, so important. And I think a lot of people in our generation especially appreciate that a lot more.
Nice. Any words of wisdom? Because I know you were very lucky and fortunate that your family was very supportive of your decision to pursue this. Any words of wisdom for anyone out there that wants to go into fashion, costume, design, all that kind of stuff, art? What would you recommend?
I would definitely recommend doing research. I think, even just talking to people. Like I did this event the other day in New York City. It was run by AIF and Brown Girl. Okay. It was called like South Asians in fashion.
Okay, yeah, of course.
And I had like a few people come up to me and like ask me questions, and it's like really, really nice to be able to even just provide like an ounce of like guidance to some of these people, because a lot of them were like, I like kind of always wanted to do like fashion and stuff, but I kind of like veered into like a different direction. And I don't know if there's like one certain piece of advice that's super important, but I think talking to people now that there's more of us in this industry is so important. Whether it is, a South Asian or a Sikh, like whether it's me or a different person, I think there's we have like a great network being Punjabi and Sikh, I think.
Absolutely, yeah, of course.
I have found this a lot that like if I meet a Punjabi Sikh person, they're so freaking helpful.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
If they don't know the answer to my question, they'll direct me towards somebody that does.
Definitely.
And I think it's so nice that we have this sense of like community.
I think so.
We're all willing to go out of our way to help people, going out of our way to help each other achieve our dreams and, you know, achieve our goals. I think that just talking to people within the industry, I think is super important. Whatever questions you have, you ask them and you'll get at least hopefully an honest answer that can help you decide whether or not this is worth it if you have parents or family members who are like, we don't want you to go into this field, like you should be a doctor or something instead. Hopefully like that type of conversation with somebody who's in the field already will help you.
Definitely. And so people that are inspired and want to do this, where can they, not your number to contact you, but like where can they reach out to you? What are some social media links? Where can they find your collection? Give us all that good stuff.
Okay, so the website is harleenkaur.us. And any questions, I mean, I'm always happy within reason, obviously, to help people, to talk to people. If you have questions about anything, like not even just about the collection, it's info@harleenkaur.us.
Awesome.
We're on social media, harleenkaur.us.
Harleenkaur.us.
Yeah.
Dope.
Instagram. We just got Twitter yesterday.
Okay, congratulations. Is Twitter a big thing now, like in your industry?
I actually didn't initially want to get Twitter, but a lot of people were like, you should just do it. Like, it doesn't hurt.
It's free.
And it's free. And it's like a cool place to just kind of like, you know, write those like snippets of ideas that like you have, or that like things to just help people like get more relate more to the brand and to me.
Sure.
I think like up until now, I was a little afraid to put my face and my name. My name's already out there, but the name is like, it's not because I want people to know who I am. It's Harleen Kaur for a reason. My last name is not Kaur. Kaur is my middle name.
Oh, okay.
My last name's Chhabra.
Okay. All right.
But like I wanted it to be Kaur because I wanted it to be more relatable. I wanted like young Sikh girls. I wanted other Punjabi people, other Indians to like know, like, you know, this is like
it's more like unifying.
Yeah, it's more unifying, exactly. So I was hesitant to put like my like face visually out there and like talk about stuff, just because I wanted the clothing to kind of speak for itself up until now. And I think a lot of people have given me feedback and I was really reluctant to like do this, but I think that it's important. People are like, we want to have like a relationship with like who we're buying stuff from, which I think is so important too.
I think
because
so.
Me as a consumer, like I want that relationship, and I wasn't giving that to people. So I think that
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So Twitter is like a good medium for that.
Congratulations. Welcome to Twitter.
Thank you.
I'm very excited for this collection. For everyone listening in and watching for the IGTV session, I think you're going to allow me to try on one of your outfits. So I'm very excited. So make sure you check that out. Harleen, it has been a pleasure getting to chat with you.
It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you for coming on the show. And everyone for watching and listening.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of GupShup with Gurpreet Sarin. I will see you again next Wednesday. Hey there. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of GupShup with Gurpreet Sarin. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment on YouTube. If you don't like watching things and want to listen instead, there is Apple, Google, and Spotify podcasts, so make sure to check me out there. And don't forget the most important feature, IGTV, where we have some cool interactive stuff with me and my guests. And if you like my outfit, check it out. Parna Boys, PARNABOYZ. Got some really dope gear. Thank you, Parna Boys, for giving this to me. If you guys want to check it out, go to Instagram @ParnaBoys, and then also their website, parnaboys.com. Anyway, thank you again for tuning in. I will see you again next Wednesday.